Yeah, Cars USA. Yeah. This is Car Bros Podcast, episode 91.
The big 9-1.
The big.
At this rate, we're going to be at 100 pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll actually hit 100. That's pretty crazy.
Damn.
This year, probably, too. Yeah, if we keep doing this weekly podcast.
That's a significant milestone. Okay, well, welcome back. This is like week 2 of a weekly cadence.
I know.
We're feeling pretty good.
We're here to stay.
Yeah, we're here. Car Bros is back, people.
All those people that were saying that we're gone, we're back.
All the haters.
We are so back.
Yeah, someone commented on the wood paneling in my room. Like, this house.
I saw that. Yeah,
this house has a lot of wood paneling in it.
Very rustic.
Very 70s.
Yeah, I think it's even earlier.
I guess I should say, since we are going back to weekly, if you listen to this on like iTunes or whatever, start leaving reviews again to try to build the audience back up, or like thumbs it up on YouTube, whatever. Just try to get back in the algorithm. Yeah,
and I guess especially patrons, but really anyone, if there's a topic you want us to hit, just drop it and we'll.
Leave a comment or send a Patreon message.
Yep. Yeah, I read them all, and then people will be like, "Here's a topic for you to consider," and a lot of times they're good. Quite frankly, I'm just not the best about then transferring it onto the list.
And especially it used to be like it could be a long time from when we'd actually.
Yeah. We have the way this podcast is organized is just like a shared kind of Word document, basically. And it's so unwieldy at this point. It's like,
it's very large.
Yeah, it's got to be like, I don't know, 20 pages or something. But it's all displayed in one continuous page. So it's kind of a mess.
It's one very long page.
It's just one very long.
Yeah,
it's a scroll.
It's like a 2 megabyte Word doc.
It's got like photos in it and stuff. It's pretty bad. Yeah. There's like a topic area. And it's pretty rough. But we're making it work.
Someday we'll clean it up and put it for sale.
Yeah, someday. Okay. Car updates. I have a big one. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I'll start with the Jeep. It is fixed, kind of. Yeah. So I got the call last Monday that they had finished putting the motor in, and the CarMax warranty had, paid the bill, footed the bill. So I had to go pick it up, and all I had to pay was $50 deductible since it was done at a non-authorized CarMax repair shop, even though it's the Jeep dealership. So you would think that's the most authorized. But
right. What was the labor cost? You got the receipt for labor, right?
So it's like just under $7,000 was the total amount.
Labor
that did
alone.
Not show the cost of the motor on it.
That didn't show the cost of the motor because CarMax provided, like, instead of buying the motor from the dealership, CarMax warranty or the MaxCare people like shipped a new motor directly to the dealership. So that's pretty much it. Then they replaced a few items, which I'll talk about in a couple minutes. But yeah, it was only like $200 in parts, and then the rest was labor. So like $6,500 in labor, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess like minimum $5,000 for that motor.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I would guess closer to 10, but
yeah, I would think so, but I don't know. Yeah. But so I got it back and I had it for all of 2 days, and then I left for work, and my wife, who works from home, she went to the garage to get something and noticed there was a puddle of fluid under where I parked the Jeep, and so she sent me a picture of it. She's like, "Oh, your Jeep's leaking something." I'm like, "Oh, great." So I called the dealership and they were like, "Yeah, bring it back. We'll check it out and fix it." And so I took it back that same day. And by the time I got home, I thought it was oil. I thought it was like, oh, it's just leaking oil from, maybe they didn't put the oil filter on tight enough or missed a bolt in the oil pan or whatever, something. But by the time I got home, I realized it's definitely not oil. It was really dark. It was like almost black, and then had like a little redness in it, like when you could shine a light on it. So I was like, maybe transmission fluid. I don't know what's going on, but they checked it out, and it's one of the motor mounts is leaking, and I guess it's like a hydraulic fluid motor mount. So
Yeah, that's weird. That's not what I would have
yeah.
expected.
Well, it's weird. I looked at the parts that they replaced, and they replaced the left motor mount, which I think is the driver's side, but they didn't replace the passenger side. I don't know why they had to replace only one and not both, but now the passenger side is instantly leaking. So it seems kind of weird that
just couldn't handle a fresh motor.
Exactly. Like it's like they clearly inspected the motor mounts, saw one was faulty and the other one was okay. And so they used, the old one and a new one, and then immediately the old one fails. And so
good thing you have a warranty.
Yeah. So, but now I have to pay another $50 deductible because this is technically a new claim.
Bullshit.
I know, but yeah, and the motor mount is back ordered. So they called me and they're like, it's back ordered, so you can come pick the car up. It's safe to drive, and they'll probably get the part in a week or two, and then I have to take it back again for them to fix it. But
if you still have it,
I don't. Yeah, I might just like try to. I started cleaning it up this morning. I like washed it and started detailing the interior, and I put I had replaced the Uconnect touchscreen. It's a 2015 Jeep, just to remind people, but I had put a 2018 Uconnect touchscreen in it because that's the one that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Oh,
So I was able to have CarPlay for the past few years, but the touchscreen is started delaminating the past 6 months, I would say, and it gotten really worse the 2 months it sat at the dealership because it was just sitting outside in exposed sun. 110 degree weather. I don't know how the inside of the car probably got to be 130.
They probably don't even put one of those covers in it, I'm sure.
Oh, I doubt it. No, yeah, I think it was just indirect sunlight. And I even noticed when I was driving it home, when I picked it up, it had been sitting on the lot all weekend. I picked it up on a Monday, and the touchscreen was freaking out. It was just I wasn't touching it at all, but random buttons and screens and pages were changing. I had it on Bluetooth. Yeah, I had it on Bluetooth listening to my phone, and it would randomly just switch to USB and be no device is connected via USB. So I had to keep pushing it back and so I was this touchscreen's fucked. So I took it out this morning and put the stock one back in, and as I was taking it out, I realized this part of the screen had melted, and it was oozing out the bottom of the touchscreen. All this super sticky goo was leaking out the bottom of the screen / it's a small computer as well, and it had dripped down on other connections for the HVAC controls, and I was Jesus Christ,
that's gross.
It was. I had to use a lot of Goo Gone and paper towels to freaking change this.
That seems like something that would happen in a 30-year-old German car or something.
Or something goo leaking out.
Yeah, you would think they would test for high temperature. I know.
I'm sure they did. It's just Dodge. Don't forget, American cars still generally fucking suck.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised that they would leave a car sitting out for months, just in the fucking hottest part of, just you think interiors would be falling apart and stuff.
I know.
Well,
the trim would, you think that would happen all the time. Trim and stuff would just be falling.
Yeah.
You got brand new cars.
Yeah.
Volume knobs falling off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the plan is.
But at least you're going to get another Jeep with even more system.
Yeah, I'm going to get another Jeep quality. Hey, bro, it's Stellantis now. It's the quality's way better than.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's way higher.
Now that it has an Italian influence.
Exactly.
It'll be a lot
French.
more reliable. Yeah, French and Italian.
They've teamed
can only go up from here. Yeah, they've put the smartest minds together. Three powerhouses of reliability.
Yep. So we'll see. But yeah, I might just see what CarMax will give me this week, and maybe even trade it in before the motor mount gets in. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but just be
I don't know.
Clovis Dodge has a motor mount for this.
Yeah, don't worry.
They know this vehicle well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have a small update. It's not that exciting, but I noticed that the C5 Vet that I have has a small miss at idle. Ooh. I was listening to it idle because I changed the exhaust a little bit, and it's just got this kind of like putter to it. Like it's very minor. Mm-hmm. And so I was searching for like C5 I miss at idle, and it's very common. And it's just a bunch of people like, oh, it's got like a little bit of miss. And then there's all these other people who are like, these motors just kind of run a little rough at idle. Like there's always like yeah, like any problem you look up, there will be some faction of people who are like, that's just how they are. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's like a shifting kind of weird when it's cold. Like they always shift weird when it's like,
just let it warm up.
There's just plenty of people that always say it's like not a problem. And so I bought plugs and wires, but I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is common or if I'm just kind of like a little bitch when I work on cars, but a lot of times I'll buy a part and then I'll like look, and it's not something that's broken, like in this case, plugs and wires. And I'll I'll get the part, I'll have bought it, I research it and buy it and like find the best deal and all that. And it shows up. And then I'll like go out in the garage and like look at the part on the car. I'll be like,
it's brand new.
Yeah, or I'll just be like, that actually looks like not that fun to change.
No, yeah. I don't want to do that anymore.
I actually don't want to like do this.
Actually, they're fine.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Like, what's the point here? Like, I've got them. And so I was sitting on them for a while, and then I noticed this miss, and like most people were like, you should do plugs and wires. So I was like, all right, like I guess if this could actually change something, I'll do it. So I bought this tool that like grabs the spark plug wire to make it easier to pull these things off. Even with that tool, it took me start to finish 4 hours to do fucking plugs and wires. Yeah, it took me 3 hours to get the spark plug wires off. and you have to remove nothing to get to them. It's not like you gotta dig down.
They're just there.
They're just so stuck on the plugs.
Like partially melted on or something, maybe?
I don't know. I think that's part of it. First of all, they like click on kind of hard, but and it's like the only advantage I'm seeing here. Well, not the only advantage, but a big one of an overhead cam engine is the spark plugs go through the top. And so it's like the spark plug wires are just like on the top of the motor, like picture a Honda 4-cylinder, just like there they are.
It's just like right there.
Like pull them out. But on a overhead valve, push rod motor, the plug goes in like between the exhaust manifold runners.
Yeah, it's kind of weird angle.
Yeah, it's in the side of the head, like in between the exhaust manifold, not through the top. Right. And so they're basically just getting baked on there. And it was all I was literally doing is pulling spark plug wires off. It took me 3 fucking hours. It was like I was.
And you didn't even care about damaging them because you were replacing them.
I didn't.
So you're just yanking on them. And
if you break it somehow, then you're really fucked because it's like I don't even know what. I guess
it's
you
like
take the header off or something. Yeah. Right. And I was looking online, and people were like, "How do you get these things off?" Like it's not uncommon. And people were just like, "You just kind of have to accept that you're going to break." Like, if you're pulling the plug wires off, you're probably going to fucking break them. Like, you should just have new ones.
Say goodbye.
Yeah, it did not fix the miss.
That's just how they are.
Has there ever, like, anytime anyone's changed plugs and wires, you're like, oh, this is going to be, I'm totally going to notice a huge difference. And then, like, nothing feels different ever.
It didn't. I mean, it's not worse.
Right,
so
that's true.
That. And so it has a miss at idle, and the exhaust has some, like, the muffler goes over the axle and then into the catback goes like over the axle into the muffler. And there's 2 parts where it's like clamped to make it easy to get it off. So it's like anytime you have a clamp and not a weld, it's not going to be like the best seal. And so the exhaust kind of it's like a very minor leak that's creating like a little bit of boominess, a little bit of like resonance. And so I was like, I think I'm going to pull it apart and like seal it with this like exhaust goo. And so today I was out there and I pulled it apart and I could get like half of it apart, and like the other half was stuck. I was like, yeah, fuck this. So I just put it back together. And so I spent like 3 days working on this car, and I didn't fix anything. I just like pulled stuff apart and put it back together, and like gave up.
But you learned a lot,
like,
though.
Yeah, it's like not uncommon where I'll like work on a car and like not actually fix anything. It's kind of like,
some people just like wrenching.
Yeah, I just like wrenched for like 6 hours, but I still have both of the problems. But now I'm like, they miss it idle. Who gives a shit?
Now the problems seem less big, less.
I'm like, you know what? I can deal with this. Like, I don't really care. Fuck it. So yeah, it's not much of an update.
Speaking of C5, so we a couple weeks ago we talked about the book All Corvettes Are Red, which is about like the development of the C5.
That period of kind of history.
Yeah, like it started like in the late 80s, like, the C4 had already been around for 6 or 7 years. So like that was when they started like, rolling the ball, but it took a long time before, it got approved and everything. But
isn't it wild how long those generations were? You had like...
Yeah, it's like 84 to 96.
Yeah, and what was C3? It was like 69 to...
68 to 82. Yeah, because there was no 83 Corvette.
Yeah, so it's like 12-year cycles.
Yeah, so like it took them a while, but the most interesting thing is like they're talking about how they're like benchmarking the C5 against all these other cars
in the it's like the mid to early 90s.
Yeah. So this is like late 80s, early 90s, and I guess into the mid 90s. And it's like they say like Porsche, like by that point they had gotten so expensive, and they were just kind of like, it wasn't really like on their radar as a car. They were like, this needs to be better than the 911. It just wasn't really a factor. Like everything they talked about was like
at the time.
Yeah, it was like pretty much like their target car was like the Z32 300ZX, and then the RX-7 and the Supra. And just because I know even Coyne was talking about if a Japanese company like made this car, like everyone would be like shitting themselves over it. But like
it really does have a pretty
the cars that they like benchmarked were all these like whatever the like hot Japanese sports cars at the time.
Yeah, that car, like I don't know what it is. It just feels Japanese to me. I think that's what like caught me the most about it. It's like you actually wouldn't know really that this is American. It just doesn't really like,
except maybe for the engine,
super. Yeah, other than the fact that it's like this kind of V8 thing. But even I don't know, man. Even just something about that, like the whole experience. Just if you didn't know anything and you told someone it was like a '90s,
whatever,
Infinity or something weird. They would be like, "No way, this thing's American through and through." Like, it doesn't have any like.
Well, I mean, I guess, apart from the Japanese cars, it was like that and the C4. Obviously, it's like, but there was no like, there was no like European car or like super car or anything like even in the mix.
Yeah, the M3 was not like a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the E36 like probably wasn't even out when they were.
No, that came out in '95.
Yeah. So like,
and even the E30 M3, like I don't know if people, I certainly don't remember, but apparently those things just fucking sat on dealer lots like toward the end of their.
Yeah, I imagine that was a hard sell. You want a 4-banger?
Yeah, it was like because his 4-banger versus the 325i was a 6, and like it's only like a very small group of people were enthusiastic about those things. I liked it before there. And then the 911, I guess, I mean, again, I wasn't really there, but like I'm guessing it was sort of, I have a feeling the 911 probably, like there was great debate over whether it should have been water cooled or not, like well before they did it.
Yeah, like late 90s.
And so I think the like 90s version probably was kind of like weird and like kind of relic feeling, like, oh, they still make it, but it's sort of,
it wasn't really like we need to beat the Porsche.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
like what it is now, where they're just clearly going after the 911 or whatever. The Cayman is probably the new.
And the funniest thing is just like all these cars, they're like Supra 300ZX, RX7, FD, even the 3000 GT. And it's like none of those cars like really even made it out of the 90. Like by the time the C5 like was on sale, like all those cars were like either dead or on their way out, basically.
Yeah.
And it just shows like how fast things could change.
Yeah, it like that car is really is very late. Like when mine's the last model year, '04. Even the M5 felt kind of late, where it's like, yeah, this car is an '03 or this car is an '04. But really, when you're telling people who don't know, you need to be like, this came out in '96. The more kind of accurate thing is that like this is like a mid to early 90s car. They just kept it going into the early 2000s. But by the time they stopped the C5 run, like nothing else was around, but it was been, Z32 ended in 96, I think.
I mean, they
didn't even replace it. It was like
and then then the 350Z was like
03, I think.
Yeah, it was later, and it was a very different feeling car.
Yeah, that was like and then like, if you just compare it to the C8, it's like what is the C8 like benchmarked against?
Yeah,
like it just shows like how much things have changed.
Yeah, that is like pure exotic now.
It's like just imagine like the C8, like even like giving a shit about the fucking Z.
Yeah, the Supra.
Yeah.
This has to be better than the Mark V Supra.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just kind of transcended. Even the C6 and C7 didn't. I think they just like very quickly realized that the money to be made was upmarket. I think they must have just realized like, look, there are old dudes with money. And like we can push this thing way higher. When you had like C6 ZR1 was like $100 and something $1,000 or something like that. Just keep going. There's dudes. These dudes have deep pockets. Yeah. Like it just was not. It's still definitely affordable for what it was, but I kind of like that the C5 was affordable, like by any kind of stretch.
For everyone.
Yeah.
How much was the C5Z when it went on sale? Like
48, I think, maybe 46. That was like a $5,000 package. It was just like, it was just like a package kind of. It was like, yeah.
Do you want the Z06 package?
Yeah, that's what I like a lot about them, because it wasn't like the C6 Z06 was very clearly planned from the start. Like, okay, we're gonna have the base, and then we're gonna have the high performance model. And they're so different. It's like they
different body,
it's not better or worse. Yeah, it's just very clearly like, okay, we got to make sure the base is this fast, and the like faster one this fast. Where the C5 was just like, it's the vet, we made it. It's just like, here's the vet. And then I think they
put a cab in it.
Yeah, they must have gotten the idea that like, let's make a faster one, but it's just all kind of very like experimental to me. Where it's like, do you want to? And they even kind of marketed the C5Z as like, this is for the people who want to give up. You're kind of it costs money, but like this is like not as good of a daily driver. Where the C6 Z06 is like, this is the ultimate, like just this is the one you want,
right?
You just or the C5Z is like, if you can deal with a stiffer.
Fine,
like suspension and like less.
If you want a tram line,
if you want to if you're just a little more hardcore. So I don't know. I mean, obviously we could go on and on. Yeah, the one thing that still really bothers me is just like, I mean, we've talked about this so much, but the interior of that thing is full on cemented as a meme at this point. It's just like. The inside of that. And I was looking at a RX-7 actually for sale, an FD RX-7. It's like, that interior is a piece of shit. Like, that's not
Yeah.
Mid 90s Mazda, like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not good, but it's just become a thing. I couldn't deal with that interior.
I know.
It's just a thing.
I had to close the deal.
Yeah, I had to back off. Yeah, one thing I was kind of laughing about though, like the RX-7 for a while there, those FDs, like the ultimate FD for maybe like, I don't know, 10 years. I'd call it like early 2000s to like 2015.
Late 2000, yeah.
Yeah, was just a LS swapped FD. It was like worth more if you did a proper LS swap. I remember seeing like finished FDs with an LS in it for like 20 to 25.
And they would be like fairly stock otherwise, like not
yeah,
like
and it was like
they weren't race cars or anything.
I forget what it added, but it was like 30 pounds or something. It was like you basically did. There was no penalty. It was just clearly like better. But now it's like, oh no, preserve. Now they've kind of
I want the original.
Yeah. But I was kind of laughing to myself that like a positive of the Rotary motor is that it's small enough where when you pull it to put LS in it, you could just put it in the garbage.
It's right in the dumpster. Yeah,
you can just put it in your like normal trash can.
Yeah, gray can. Yeah,
yeah. You could maybe like split it up over 2 weeks and like pull the accessories off or something. But like you could just straight up put that thing in the trash. And
I forgot where I saw this, but it was like it was on some forum post, and like someone had put like a really heavy like a EJ like Subaru block in their like gray trash can, and then they posted something like they were like, oh, just anyone like who wanted to know like I forgot the technical term, but like the weight limit of like the trash can is like 450 pounds, because when the garbage truck went to pick up the trash can, like the bottom of it had like broken open, and so all the trash came out. Yeah, so they're like, I went over the weight limit.
Who put this motor in the trash?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know. Yeah,
it is kind of funny with trash when you like kind of like cheat on it. Like, well, I don't know if that should be in the trash or the recycling. But like once they pick it up, they're not going to know where it came
it's not my problem.
If it fits in there, it's kind of fair game.
Yeah,
if the lid closes.
It's like, should I put all this like rusty steel into my trash can, like next to like my egg cartons and stuff?
Yeah, one time when I was moving out of a house, I lived in a house with 6 guys, like in college, and the owner sold the house, so they were like, everyone has to go, And what happens in these houses that are rented, like the one I'm in now, generation over generation rents it, and people don't take all their stuff. And so a lot of the stuff in the house will just be like, no one owns it. It's like you're playing like musical chairs with who has to deal with it. And so we had to get rid of everything in the house, and we threw away like a ton of plates and shit, like ceramic, like
dishes.
Like dishes and like mugs. And I just remember the trash was like to the brim with like ceramic.
Jeez, that'd be super heavy. Yeah.
Fragile.
It was so heavy. And it was like bending and like distorting when we trick, because you have to like pull it back to wheel it out.
To get it on the wheels. Yeah.
It was like it held, I guess. They took it.
It made it survive.
Yeah, it wasn't my problem anymore. The other thing that cracked me up is we around that same time, when you're younger, you just have no like, it's like funny to do stuff like that. You're like, oh, we like caused someone else a bunch of pain.
Yeah.
You get older, you're like, what an asshole. But we swapped my friend's 280Z, Datsun 280Z. We pulled the motor out of it, and those motors, it was an iron block straight 6. Like those things were fucking beast motors. And we put the old motor just like on the ground next to some dumpster at an apartment complex. Like
The cardboard sign that says free. Yeah.
Yeah, we just like drove it to a complex and put this like 500-pound engine just like next to it and drove away. I don't know what they must have had to bring a forklift to get rid of that thing. This doesn't make any sense. Anyways, I just thought that was funny. Like you could legitimately put a whatever the 13B rotary like that would fit. I don't even think that'd be over the
Pick it up
And
with one hand.
is that an aluminum block? I mean, you could put it in the recyclable trash can. You could
you could even recycle it. You could probably get
exactly
scrap for that.
Take it with your cans.
Yeah.
All right. So as
speaking of buying these cars,
yeah, as we alluded to on the last show, I bought another car.
shocking.
I don't think this was more than like 10 days after I bought my Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like the following weekend. But I think the problem is like I bought the Corvette and I was like, well, I don't need any more cars. Like I'm done, which
I'm hanging up my hat.
Yeah. Which I say all the time, except that is not going to mean anything unless I just stop looking at classified ads.
Yeah, you have to stop looking. I remember when you bought the Civic Type R, you're like, my wife's letting me buy it, but I had to promise her this was it for a while.
Yeah, for like a year or something.
For like a month.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's like, unless you just like block yourself from looking at it, like there's always going to be like something.
Yeah, you got to stop hanging out at your drug dealer's house if you're going to stop. You can't be friends with him anymore. I'm going to stop smoking weed.
I'm not going over there to use. I'm just going over there to hang out.
Yeah, I'm just going to hang out with the boys. Yeah, that's not how it works.
So anyways, like this was Friday, like a Friday night at like a little after midnight.
So it's Friday night and I'm on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I'm just
that's what I mean. Like when I had to get up to feed my daughter. Like that just kind of naturally. So
what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, how am I not gonna browse?
Yeah, so this was Craigslist, and I see. I forgot. I think I forgot to save the ad. If I can find it, we'll put it up. But I don't know if I have it or not. But it was 1991 Nissan 240SX, so S13, which coincidentally we had like just talked about on a couple episodes, like comparing the C5
to the 240. Said it was kind of like the new 240.
Why would you buy a 240SX? You can get a C5.
Yeah.
But so I see this car. It's like it says, like the ad like almost seemed fake, kind of like how the ad seemed fake.
The best ones usually are.
So he was asking $3,700, and it said like 91 240SX 5-speed. It said one owner, which like is always a little like when you see that in an ad, like. Usually there's like some kind of asterisk with it. It's like, oh, like my uncle's like buddy bought it. Or like 4 different guys have had it, but no one ever like transferred the title from the original
family.
So I don't know, but like the car was like looks stock to like runs, needs like some work. So I was like, this is pretty rare. So like I messaged the guy at like as I saw it, like at 12:30 at night.
Yeah,
and I felt kind of like a dick because usually I don't know, just text someone like in the middle of the night, but it's like,
but didn't he post the ad at like 10 or 10:30?
The ad had like barely been up. So like, I was like, oh, fuck it. Like it's a tech. I don't think it's going to like wake him up or anything. Yeah. So I texted him and just like, the thing that I noticed with a car like that, where it's like, seems like a really good deal, but you just have to be like, when can I come look at it? Like, you don't like you don't like ask him a couple things first. Like,
paintwork.
Like, do you still have this? So I just messaged like, I just said like, would it be possible to come look at your Nissan?
Give me an address.
So then I went to bed. I kind of forgot about it, and then I woke up at like 7, and I'm like, he replied like, yeah, like I have someone's like in my kitchen like demoing it, but I'll let you know like as soon as I'm done. So okay. So then I was like, oh shit. So I like borrowed the cash from my brother. Because like it's actually kind of hard to buy a car on a weekend
Yeah, it is.
unless you have a pile of cash, which I probably
Yeah,
should have, makes you just
yeah.
like have cash like in your house. Like a lot
Yeah.
of banks are not even open on Saturday to
No.
go get cash. And the bank that
First
I
of all,
use is
it's hard.
not.
It's hard to get cash on a weekend, and then it's hard just to get a lot of cash
Yeah,
anytime.
yeah. Like even
Like
like noon on a Monday. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you
Oh,
go in the
I don't know
bank
if
and
we have
ask for like
cash.
10 grand, they'll be like,
Yeah, we're gonna need some warning on that.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
just walk in here, buddy. Like 10 grand.
Yeah, so anyway, so like I talked to my brother, like he had just sold his a car. So like I was like,
Mm.
can you lend me a
So
couple
he was
grand? So, okay.
flush.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
flush. So I went to his house and
Let me hold
I
a
got
couple dollars.
yeah. I got the money and then the guy messaged like you can come now, they're done. And like I remember we made a joke when we saw a Del Sol for sale like a couple years ago, like that the car, like when we were like halfway looking at a Del Sol, there was a guy selling one that Coyne was like messaging him about, and he was like, "I get off at 5 or something," and we were just like kind of imagining the like rush.
That's right.
Oh
He
yeah.
was
Of
just
all the
saying like,
potential, but yeah.
come over at 5. And
Yeah.
it was going to
Yeah.
be like fucking Thunderdome. Just a
Yeah.
bunch of like primered Civics out front, like
It'd be like a
posses.
cannonball run. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
All
going to
these
be like
different-
a fucking West Side Story to get this car.
Yeah, guys like punching out of work and running. So like I didn't.
Yeah.
Whoever
Like,
can
I did.
put the money in my hand.
Yes, like I didn't know like if that was what this is like because I assumed like this car like seemed like a good deal. It's like extremely rare, like not even knowing
And
the
like
story.
cheap.
It seemed, yeah, like definitely. I mean, the car like in a normal world it would not be that cheap, but
Yeah, it's acceptable.
yeah. So like I didn't know if it was gonna be this thing where like okay, like it's just first come first serve. Like I didn't know if he was
Here's
sending
the
the same
address.
message out to like 50
Yeah.
other people. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, on my way. Like I told him, like, oh, I'm going to the bank, like which just my brother's house, just to like show that I was serious.
Yep, I'm on my way.
So yeah, so we get there and like I can like we pull up and there's like he lives in like a gated community thing, but I could like see the car. Like I had to like call him for the code to get to open the gate. And first, I was like, well, that's good. At least like you can't just like drive right up to his house.
There's a bunch of primered Civics outside the gate while you're inside.
Yeah, like I join a line of cars.
They're like clawing at the gate.
So I went with my dad and then my son, and like I could see the car like in his garage, like through the gate. And I was like, damn, this looks like pretty legit. So like I call him. He's like, oh yeah, I'm here. The gate's okay. Yeah, here's the code. So like drive in, and then like there's been a couple of cars that I've bought over the years where it's like literally like as you're walking up to the car, you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. Like it doesn't really matter like what the rest of the story is. Like you can just that initial like fight. Like the car was like sitting in his garage, and it was sitting next to a newer, not a brand new, but like a year or two old BRZ.
Yeah.
So the guy comes out and he's like super nice. And he's like, oh, like I had to shut down my phone. Like I was getting so many which like not surprising, but like I didn't. He was like, so the guy, 1991 240 SX, he bought the car brand new in 91 for 16 grand. He said he was a fighter pilot, like a retired jet pilot. Now he flies commercial. And he, like his wife didn't want to drive sticks, and like he got his BRZ to replace it. He's like, oh, I just wanted to let it go. Like it wasn't the thing where like he knew that the cars were popular because he was like, people like stop and ask me like all like imagine it. Like when do you ever see a stock 240 SX driving down the street? Like
it's pretty rare.
Pretty much never. He's like, I think even in the ad, it's like people always like stop me. Like time has come. Yeah. And so like I looked at the cars, like I drove it, or I test drove it mostly just to make sure that it would get back to my house without needing to trailer it home. It's like I didn't really care. Like, and it mechanically, like it's like it's all original, but it's not like it wasn't like his like weekend car. Like it was like it has 300,000 miles on it.
Yeah, it's not like it wasn't well used.
Yeah, like he like. Which in a way is like at least as far as the story is almost better in a way. It's like he didn't just buy this car brand new. Like he bought it and put 300,000 miles on it, like,
Yeah.
you know, traveling around, going to different bases, different parts of his career, like having kids and stuff.
Damn, he probably conceived a
yeah.
kid in that car.
Probably. So the guy's like super nice. But he's like, I've never sold a car before. like he didn't know like anything about the paperwork. And he was like, man, so many people are like, I've been like overwhelmed.
You're like, this is new for me too. It's a special moment.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you picked me.
Yeah. So the only thing is like, it wasn't smogged yet, which is, I mean, I knew I would have to handle that. So we agreed on $3,500.
Yeah.
And then like, so the guy was like getting pretty emotional, like as he should, like the car that he bought brand new. And it was,
he's had it like 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and I was just thinking like, this is like literally like a Jack Diamond, like
scenario.
situation. Like we've like created characters like that in like various Jack Diamond.
If that was not a gated community, you legitimately could have pulled the last video's move. Legit, you could have rolled up and
like the guy, like he was like, okay, so I sign here and this, and like, do I need to do the transfer? Like,
I think this is the pink slip.
So I've never, it was like the nicest guy in the world. He's like, oh, like you know, keep me updated with what you like. Like I didn't. The car's a great deal, but I didn't buy it to resell.
Yeah, like, which is good. I mean, like that would be. Like if you keep it and do stuff to it, you can like send him pictures.
Yeah. That's what I told him. He's like, yeah, keep me updated.
Yeah.
So the car runs and drives. I got it home. It needs like the suspension, like I think like tie rods, like everything is just pretty worn out.
Yeah,
it has like a check engine light, like intermittent from time to time. So it needs to be gone through. But it's like the car is so hard to find that I'll just hold on to it and slowly.
Slowly, a time capsule.
Yeah, although I think we brought it before. It's like the weird story of the 240SX is like they're super popular, but not really for being stock.
Right.
Like, so like you don't really want to like restore it because it's not that.
Yeah, you don't want to get like the OEM stuff from Nissan because it kind of sucks.
Or just like fully rebuilt like K24 to like
original shocks from Nissan.
Yeah. So I think like you got to like kind of like strike a balance. I think.
Yeah, you kind of got to plan it a little bit.
Yeah, or like something like I'm thinking like a nice version of like how you would modify that like in the 2000s.
Yeah,
like you like lower it a little bit and put some nice wheels and I don't know.
Or like how you would have modified it if it was brand new or like a year old.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I did something similar when I bought the M5, but like the guy I bought the M5 from was selling it because he needed money. Like I paid $25,000 for that car. It wasn't like I'm getting rid of my extra car. He was like his like real estate business was failing or something. So
he knew the score.
Yeah, and so I sent him a picture of it like 5 years after I bought it or something. But it was like it wasn't the same because it kind of felt like, I bought your fucking car, bitch. And
I wrote it in your face.
Yeah, it's like I kind of felt like, he'll be like nostalgic to see this thing, but he was like, it's great. Like, I don't think he liked seeing it. Really.
Yeah, I wish I didn't sell it. Yeah.
Yes, I remember it. I did not want to sell it to you.
Yeah, just like before I was leaving, he was like taking me around the car. Like, let me show you everything. So like, look, this little thing broke here, so like you need to do this, and like I put tint on and it peeled off, and it's just like the most cool. Like honest. Like let me tell you, like I have some power steering fluid, like it leaks a little bit, like.
It's pretty special to buy a car from its original owner, especially something older.
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of times when you see original owner in an ad, it's not really what you think it is. Maybe it's just like
these days more often than not, it means like I just bought this a week ago from its original owner.
Yeah,
and I don't fucking know anything about it, but it only has one owner, which totally removes the whole fucking reason.
Exactly. Yeah. So
like I'm flipping it, but it was one owner. It's like, well, that's not.
Right. I don't count myself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I can't. Like, does any recent maintenance? I'm like, I don't know. Come look at it. It's one owner.
It was just so funny because this was like literally like days after we shot that Jack Diamond video. Like
Yeah,
we're the
pretty
original owner.
Yes.
Yeah. So another car in the garage to deal with.
Yeah. So kind of a similar story. My buddy hit me up, my friend Mitch. Well, he's my cousin's fiance. And he was like, I'm looking at a third gen Forerunner and I heard you had one. Can you like help me kind of like, I don't know, he just wanted to talk about him. And he found one for sale like 5 minutes from me. He lives in the Bay Area, so he's like 2 hours away. But he found one for sale, and it was a 97 original owner Forerunner. Yeah. And he sent me this ad, and I was like, buy this. Like, I don't know if you've been looking for a long time, but like, this is like crazy. Yeah, I was like, I don't know, like, this is actually like really rare. And so we end up going to look at this thing, and it's like, yeah, it's original owner, but that kind of doesn't mean anything if the one owner that it's had isn't good at taking care of shit. Yeah. One owner doesn't mean it's going to be pristine. It just means they've never sold it. But like, you know, we walked up to it. It was the same kind of thing. As soon as he pulled up from 100 feet away, I was like, damn, this thing is clean. And then when we got right up next to it, I was like, this is not great. This has been parked outside its whole life. And like, I was just talking to the guy, and he was so like, oh, it's low, it's 130,000 miles. And he was like, oh, it's like low miles and I'm the only owner and I've got all the maintenance and stuff. But like, there's a way to own a car where, like the way I own my kind of special cars, where it's like, not only has this been maintained, it is over maintained,
extra maintained.
Where like things that were starting to fail were replaced, not like it followed the maintenance
before they even started to fail.
Yeah, like not only does this been kept up, this is like, you know, fresh. This is kind of like new. And so I get under this thing, and I'm like, this is like gross under here. It's like it was kind of like rusty. And like everything's original. It's like, this isn't special. This is like it would be very desirable if you were going to build a like crazy off-roader, because it was like no body work, and you know, it's like, it's cool, it's the original owner, but I'm going to gut the thing. But my friend was looking for like, I've always loved these old Forerunners and I want it to be a daily driver. And so like we looked at it, we drove it around. And he was asking 15 for it. It's not like it was like, oh, this is like a good deal.
Yeah.
It was like a decent deal in this fucked up market. And so like we were kind of talking off to the side, and I was like, don't buy this. Like, just walk away. And so like we walk up to the guy, and he's kind of waiting for like, here comes the negotiation.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, yeah, I'm just going to pass. He was like, what? Like, yeah, I was like, original owner. Yeah, so it's actually pretty funny, because I told him, I was like, here are the things that like I would look at. Like the steering rack is starting to go. The upper and lower ball joints need to be replaced. Like I would do the radiator. And, you know, and I was just being very like I confirmed with my friends, like, you're not buying this, right? He's like, no. I was like, okay, like here, you know, he's just kind of arming him.
I'm going to lay into this guy now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was like, you should probably take like 13 for this. And even that would be like kind of a lot. I didn't tell him, I was like, I wouldn't pay more than like 8 or 9, you know, like you are like wildly off on the value of this. But it just kind of made me think, where it's like original owner. It's like, that's not automatically stellar.
It's really more of a story than any like
you know, there is a lot of positives, but it was like, okay, original owner who's never garaged it is like
for this, it's just like I didn't even know that like a manual transmission 240SX that literally has never been modified
could exist
like in 2022.
Yeah, it's pretty like you've got to be down to the total number that still exists in North America is definitely under 100, probably under 50, and like maybe under like 30. It's like, it's just like, it is down there. Because those also just aren't really the type of cars you keep for a long time. It's not like,
Not really,
911, like always wanted one, and like finally, like bought one. And,
go out to my garage and fire it up.
yeah, it's just like my old baby. So yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So fresh off the wire, I went and test drove a new.
Okay, so so no more cars after that.
Yeah. So I was done. So this is like
earlier today.
So okay, so I'm in the market
shopping. Yeah, so Garrett's hot. He's fresh in the market.
Yeah.
No, so I'm still waiting for this GR Corolla, and I'm not really getting impatient. I'm just like exploring.
Why not own one or two other cars in the meantime?
Look, you got to fill the gaps a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I guess it's more like I'm looking for like a fallback option. I guess like if for whatever reason, if this car is like tremendously expensive, or like if it
you didn't like wait for nothing.
Yeah. So we talked about the Elantra N last week, and like I was like almost considering that as like a short term, like fling with the car. I actually, I saw that a local Hyundai dealer had one, so I had one on their lot, which is like pretty rare these days. It's like half the cars that show up somewhere just like, we have it coming in sometime. We don't know like when it's going to be here. So they're like, okay, well, like I'll stop by. Like maybe I can at least like drive one of these things and like get over it at least, or be like,
this is like you make plans to hang out with a girl Thursday night, and then like Thursday mid afternoon, you're like, well, I might as well like go and get drinks with. There's other
fish in the sea.
Yeah, I might as well. I got a few hours.
Just keep my options open.
Well, I part of it is like I was kind of like nostalgic for like the old days a couple years ago when you used to be able to just go do that. Like I went and like test drove some cars and like wasted some salesman time.
Yeah, I just want to spend some of their time.
I just wanted to test out the new whatever. So I went to the Hyundai dealer first, and I was like, oh, I saw you guys have an Elantra, and he's like, oh yeah, we do. So like of course the car's like in the showroom. So like that
Jose,
like,
get the lube.
So like, okay, at first I was like, okay, I'm not going to drive this. Like, I'm not going to like have them like pull it out of. And then on their website, it was marked up $3,000, which like not that I would pay a cent of markup, like even if I wanted to buy one, but I was like $3,000, like maybe you can like $3,000, like maybe you can get them to like, like I'll buy it at sticker. Like I'm not. So like,
they're not like too proud.
Yeah, like so he takes me to the car, like on the sticker on the car it says like 42. So like that, like the markup on their website was just like initial. Maybe that's like
just gets you in the door.
Yeah. So that's like the base grade markup. So like I saw the sticker on the car. I saw the car was in the showroom. I like sat in it. I was like, oh, it's pretty neat. Sporty. And I just left. So I just left.
See you later.
So like I didn't. Like, I mean, the car was not that impressive, like not running in a showroom floor. Like,
that's not its strong suit.
No. So I didn't really like figure out anything on that front. Although I did not have a good impression of Hyundai dealers, which is not really surprising. So then like the Subaru dealers right down the street, and the weird thing about the new WRX is like, apparently, unlike every other cars, like they actually have a lot of them. Like
they're just not. I don't know. They're like not at all on the hype train.
Yeah, I don't know if that car is just not popular, or they just had zero like inventory issues. But for whatever reason, like there's plenty of them around, and they're actually
it's the former.
The people just don't like them.
I think it's just whether or not it deserves it, but people are just like, WRX, and so they're just like,
it's got plastic on it, like
because the thing you have to remember is not only is this being driven by whether the car is good or not, it's by people's perception of, will I lose a bunch of money buying it,
right?
And if you believe you're not going to lose money buying it, you've got like 300% more people trying to buy cars than would anyways, because it's it's
There's
like,
like
why
no
wouldn't you?
risk.
You know, it's like real estate or something. Go buy a car if you can.
Yeah, so
dumb.
So I like in person, like I don't know, the car looks pretty good to me. Like
I liked it when it came out, just in pictures. I thought it was an improvement over the old
the
one.
plastic stuff like does stand out, but like if you get it in a darker color, like you don't really notice it.
You're talking about like the plastic around the fenders,
like the fenders, and on like half the back bumper.
Yeah, it even goes along the side skirt too. Like it literally goes around the entire car, I think.
And then on the front bumper too. But like the car looks good. Like it's wide, like it's got the scoop and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's big inside. It's nice. So I drove it, and it really I was pretty impressed with it overall. Yeah. Although like I would say like it's way better than the old one. Like the old one just felt. I mean, maybe it was nice when it was new, 8 years ago, but that car just felt like very like cheap and dated, like pretty quickly.
Yeah, like a lot of the charm of the old one, people were like, it's old school. You're like, it's kind of like a blast from the past or something. It's like, that's like kind of okay in a 4Runner.
So the car drives good. It feels quick. I don't know if it doesn't really feel any faster than the old ones feel, but it's like the worst thing is it's like the motor just doesn't have much personality. It's just this kind of like torquey, low revving thing. So it's like the car actually like that's not really a bad thing. It's just there's not really like any. You're not like whoa, like I really want to like lay into this.
Needs to be wrung out.
Yeah. So like, but like it has a ton of grip. Like, and the guy was like, the salesman's like, oh, look, see what it can do. Like, push it hard.
I don't give a shit.
That's exactly how it was when I test drove like my STI.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brand new in like 07 was like, they have this like loop. I don't know if it was the same thing where it's like you go on the freeway and then there's like they have you get off at a certain off ramp. It's like a loop around and like the posted speed is like 35. And he's like, you could probably do like 55 or 60. Right? He's like, just go for it. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the default like test drive loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the car is pretty good. I was pretty impressed with it. Although I don't think I would. I mean, I wouldn't do anything right now. I mean, there's no reason to like. It's not like, oh my god, I gotta have this.
Yeah,
but it's like definitely like it's a really good WRX. I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and like that car is just so fucked up right now because there's no STI coming. Like, I think they actually would have moved a lot of WRXs if there was, because you get people just kind of wanting to, like, sort of be in the conversation.
Like, get their foot in the door.
Yeah, like they feel like they're working up the ladder or something. But, like, I think that whole situation just, first of all, the WRX not being whatever people, like, thought it was supposed to be, which is kind of like a mystery to begin with. On top of the STI being canceled, I think people are just so like ready to believe that Subaru's like done. They're just like not looking at it. Like the old ones are better, and just like
I
guess that market's still healthy. The old ones.
Oh yeah. I guess the biggest downside is just like it's weird having a performance car that redlines at 6,000 RPM. Like
is it like really 6? That's crazy.
It's like 661 or 6,080 or something.
Wow.
It's like
the vet goes higher.
That's what I mean. Like I don't know if there's any car that revs like an enthusiast car with
a Cummins.
It's just like you feel it's just like
like the second you get into turbo boost, it's like you have to shift pretty much.
Yeah, like there's plenty of power, but just like even just that difference between like a 6,000 RPM red line and like a 6,600 RPM red line, makes a big difference from like just how it feels like winding it out.
Yeah, because you're also gonna only take it to like 55, like you're not like banging off.
You're gonna be like, yeah.
Just it's pretty rare just with red lines. Like in any of my cars I've ever owned, I always stop short like 1,000
Typically, that's what you want to
take it to red line. Like, what kind of asshole?
It's like the Mustang, like rev to fucking 7. Like, that's a V8.
Yeah. Just once I see the tack kind of in the 6s ish.
Okay.
I'm like, this is fine. Yeah, it's time to leave.
Off, I guess.
Yeah. It's time to shift.
So I think it's definitely better than people are making it out to be. It's just
interesting.
It just got like the wind knocked out of its sails. It seems like, and like, first it was just like the controversial looks of it. And then they were like, oh, and we canceled the STI, and everyone's like, well, what the hell? Like they were so excited for this new motor, like the 2.4 liter, I think it is. Yeah. And so they were just like, dang, like just think what the STI power is going to be when it comes out. And then they're like, nope, like this is what you get.
They still have so much room though to fix that car, because it's like, I'm sure they developed parts for it. And just because it doesn't need a new motor, I can almost guarantee you in like a year or two, there's going to be like a WRX, whatever,
like special edition or something that,
it's just like very clearly a bunch of like STI trickle down, and they'll like, they're not going to give up.
Right.
But it's not like, it's not going to be as good. Mm-hmm. But like, otherwise that car is just kind of dead. Like it needs to be a little better.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, it's like it feels like in a way it'd be great for me, because it's like this is like a kind of a fun, quick, like daily driver, like when you have like a Corvette or whatever, like as your like toy car. But like I don't really need like a daily driver, because I don't really drive that much.
Yeah.
Where like the
GR plus you have like 7 other cars that you could
drive. But so it's like this car will be a daily driver, but that's not the primary reason I'm getting it. Is because I need.
Have you driven a new GTI?
I have not. I would like to drive one. I haven't found any.
I wonder how that compares. If you can get over the infotainment, it's
I know. So laggy.
The infotainment kills the
experience.
I think all that. I think all that stuff is kind of overwrought, but
no kidding. Speaking of redline, the other day I was like on the freeway in the vet punching it like an asshole.
I was just out there punching it.
Listening to the exhaust, and I almost did 4th to 2nd again. It's just like
maybe you need a shifter or something.
They do say like a shifter really fixes it. But it was like, okay, it just convinced me. I was like, oh, I probably did do it then, because I almost just did it again. It's like you really can't hold the shifter like up and like a knob. You have to put your palm like flat on it and like pull backwards. Like you really have to pull like
you're trying to go to 6th or something. Aim for 6th.
Because I was like pulling it back. I was like, what is it sticking on? And it was stuck in like the gate between 2nd and 4th.
Between the I
was like, oh shit, I almost fucking did it again. Like, okay, well then I probably did it the first time. It was funny with that, like if you over rev an engine, especially a pushrod engine like that, I guess you can break the pushrod, not break them, but bend the pushrod slightly. They run on the cam up to the lifter. And I was like, fuck, could I have bent the push rods and that's why it's idling weird? And I was like, uh-oh, like that's bad. And I was looking online, like, I was like, how to like change push rods? And it's fucking like, it's like 4 bolts to get
really?
To get in there? It's like the coil packs, all 4 of them sit on top of the valve cover, and that's like 3 bolts. And they just like come off as like
one unit. It's
just like this unit. And then the valve covers have like 4 bolts and they just come off.
That up.
And then there's just like, there's the valve train. And you just like, you pull the rocker arms off. It's 1 bolt each, just 16 rocker arms. They just like come off. And like, you just like slide the push rod. It's like, okay, I actually could just like change these. And it would be I guarantee I could do it faster than the spark plugs. Like, I could be like in the valve train like sooner. So
There you go. Next
that
weekend.
motor's just like, yeah, motor's just pretty funny. Like, I don't want to just throw parts at it, but it's like I was just looking online and it was like, is there any special procedure or like does the motor need to be at like top dead center? And people are like, nah, just fucking get like, like it's really not. Just like go in there, it's fine. Just torque them down. Yeah, pretty sweet. Okay, and finally, we're not really making these much shorter, but
Someday.
yeah, someday they'll be shorter. And so, like, when you buy something on Amazon and you go down, and it's not the reviews; they have like a Q&A.
Yeah,
It's like question and answer section, and then the reviews.
yeah.
And I have bought stuff before, and it'll send you an email that says like such and such has a question. Can you answer it? And
I've gotten that too.
They'll show you the question. It'll be like does this work in the rain?
Like you're supposed to answer it as a buyer.
As an owner,
I think the manufacturer can see them too, but they open it up to the like you bought this, like someone else has a question about it, and so they're kind of useful, like not as useful as reviews, but people will be like, does this fit a '07 Camry or whatever? But like sure enough, a lot of the time, at least there'll be like question and then like 3 answers. And sure enough, almost every time one of the answers is like, I don't know, I haven't like used mine yet. It's just like,
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's just like I couldn't tell you. So I think it's because it's just like older people,
right?
Yeah,
get the email and it's they're like, I want to help, but it's like
I wish I knew.
It's pretty common, yeah. And so I just took a screenshot of one. I'll send it to you, John. The answer I took a picture of is, good question. I don't have that kind of experience. I can't be sure of an answer for you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Over that flagged as like most helpful.
Yeah, no, it's 10 thumbs down. It's like, okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, pretty sweet.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed our new, very timely, up-to-date cadence. Yeah. And maybe we'll be back next week. Seems like we're able to keep this going.
I think we can do it.
Guess you'll find out.
Yeah. No promises.
Yeah,
tune in next week for more C5 Corvette stories. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you next time.
See you later.
See ya.